Welcome back, everybody, to the Gen Extra Podcast. My name is Seamus McNasty. With me, as always, is Bacon. Tonight, we are going to discuss the 1984 film A Nightmare on Elm Street right after this.
What you're about to experience is the Gen Extra Podcast. With your host, Seamus McNasty and Uncle Bacon.
So tonight, like I said before the intro, we are going to discuss the Wes Craven film A Nightmare on Elm Street. That's one of your top fives.
Yes, it is. It's one of my favorite movies.
Which number was it?
I can't remember. It was in the top five. The top five. There was no method to the madness in my top five.
No, was it?
No.
I thought you didn't go in order of.
No.
Okay. But we're not going to do it alone. We're going to do it with our pal Joey Forearms. Joey.
Hi guys.
Back again, wearing a hat this time.
Yeah, well,
And
remember
a Chewbacca shirt?
that is a Chewbacca shirt.
Chewbacca shirt, man.
Remember last week when I said that I was Winnie the Pooh in it?
Yeah.
Well, this week I'm Donald Duck in it.
I'm not even sure what that means. What the hell does Donald Ducking mean?
So hat
Donald only has
shirt,
a shirt on. He ain't got no bottoms.
and nothing else.
Winnie the Pooh only has a shirt. He ain't got no bottoms.
Yeah, that's what all that
He ain't
means.
got no bottoms.
You want to see?
I'm slow. No, our viewers don't want to see that.
He ain't got no bottoms.
I can describe it for you.
Nah, we're good.
We're good.
Joe.
We're good. Let's just get into the review here. So, wait, you gonna say that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, so Nightmare on Elm Street is about a monstrous spirit of a slain child murderer that seeks revenge by invading the dreams of teenagers that were and the parents who were responsible for his untimely death.
Kind of sums it up.
Taken directly from IMDb.
I was gonna say, man, that's pretty. You did a pretty good job of describing that movie.
Thanks.
I love this movie.
I'm with before we started.
I'm with Bacon. This is in my top 5 all-time horror films. I love this film. Freddy. I mean, I saw this. I'm pretty sure I saw this in the theater.
Yeah.
Because I remember in high school just quoting the shit out of Freddy Krueger, who is the most quotable sex offender since Bill Cosby, by the way.
Oh dear Lord. Well, he wasn't a sex offender in this one.
He wasn't. They changed it.
Yeah, he was gonna
because they didn't want him to seem. They didn't want him to be worse,
creepy.
I guess.
Yeah.
The one with Jackie Earle Haley.
Yes.
The
remake.
They made him a sex
Was
offender.
that 20? It came out in 2010.
I think so. Yeah.
Reboot. Yeah.
But yeah, they evidently
Killing.
it was
kids.
evidently it was okay for him to be burnt to a crisp and kill a bunch of children,
Right.
but the sex offender thing was just pushing it a little bit too far.
It
Got to
is.
keep that PG rating.
Yeah.
And can I say this? Yeah,
I don't know.
So
I may be editing it.
it could have been Freddy Krueger's Nightmare on Elm Street with burnt child killer Wes Craven. Those names are basically interchangeable. I mean, they're both so deliciously just weird.
Yeah.
I love and that's not disrespectful. I love Wes Craven. I love his movies.
Yeah.
I love this movie. Off air, Bacon said that this was the movie that broke him from being scared of scary movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. This is that horror movie that didn't take itself seriously, and I love it for that. That's one of the reasons that I love this movie so much.
No, I mentioned before that I couldn't watch scary movies as a kid, just couldn't do it. And I brought up in our impromptu podcast our top 5 horror films. That long story short, my brother made me watch this movie and crack jokes through the whole movie. And because I sat there and laughed with him through this movie, I've been cured ever since.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. When I saw Halloween, I think I might have been like 10 or 11 years old. I had like a Seamus moment with that movie. Like I ended up sleeping on my parents' floor in their room that night. I couldn't sleep because
From the original Halloween?
Huh?
The original Halloween?
Yeah. And what got me was, at the end where they killed him and he fell off the balcony
Yeah.
And he was laying on the grass, and then they came back, and he wasn't laying on the grass, and it was like,
Yep.
pew, you know, that crazy music.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, Michael Myers is now in my backyard.
Right.
But where this movie, which Wes Craven is brilliant with the dreamscapes, because there's a lot of things in this movie that you could look at and go, bullshit. But because it's in a dreamscape,
Yeah.
not bullshit.
Yeah.
Because anything can happen.
Right.
Like right from the get, when Tina is running from Freddy and she's running goofy and she's all slow and shit, that's I've had that dream. You know what I mean? Where I can't go fast enough.
The slowest molasses.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack here. I'm excited about this one. This is what, like I said, this is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I would actually probably put this one, I would say number one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Just because it's so deliciously original in that I don't think any horror movie slasher film from that period did. I don't think so. Michael Myers didn't talk. Jason Voorhees didn't talk. Freddy talked.
Right.
So he brought this kind of an interesting depth to the slasher character that we hadn't seen up until then. And that was to me, that was the best part, was like, oh, now we can communicate with the bad guy who's trying to get us, and we know why he's trying to get us, and he's being kind of a dick about it, which is awesome.
Yeah, and as the franchise progressed, he talked. I mean, he talked even more.
Yeah, he got more one-liners.
Yeah, because I mean, he talked in the first one, but he talked a lot more in the
yeah. I mean, but they got progressively worse, and you know, there was a point in time where Craven signed off and just didn't do them anymore, and you know, then they started doing the crossover films, and they
Freddy versus Jason.
Yep.
Yeah, they ended up ruining the franchise, in my opinion. They ruin all the franchises, to be totally honest with you, until somebody else gets a hold of them and makes them even creepier.
Mm-hmm.
But
there was from looking into it, there was 7 Nightmare on Elm Street films, not including the crossover ones, from 1984 to 1994.
I think you had the first one. Second one was Freddy's Revenge. Third one was Dream Warriors. The fourth one,
don't hurt yourself.
I just might. There was one called The Dream Child.
Oh yeah.
There was one called Freddy's Dead.
Yeah.
And there was a New Nightmare, where it was like a movie within a movie.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they count that one or not.
That was when Craven came back.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and I think Heather Langenkamp came back for that film as well.
Yep.
So
Nancy,
yes.
Nancy, yeah.
Can we talk for a second about the so when the 4 kids are at the house after Rod presents himself, you know, like Johnny Depp has got the girls, they go outside and Rod shows up, and they go inside, and Rod and Tina go in.
Rod, the bad
I'm a
boy.
I'm a little confused because Rod says to Tina, "Is your mother home?" And she says, "Of course." And then the next thing you know, he's like, "Well, we've got her mom's room. You guys have the rest of the house." But then they're in Tina's room. And when Johnny Depp is laying on the couch, the sex ADR that's coming out of that room is fucking hilarious.
Oh God! Oh God! Oh! 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 Oh God! Oh God!
It's just like you can see in your mind the actors just standing in a booth,
Yeah.
you know, with a microphone in front of them going, "Ooh, oh." Yeah. It was hilarious. It was so overdone. It was so overdone, but it was awesome. And then Johnny Depp's just laying there staring at the ceiling because Nancy made it clear to Glenn, we're here for Tina because she had a nightmare.
Right.
you know, in the meantime, Tina's going to the bone zone with Rod, so she obviously doesn't give two shits about that nightmare.
Zone.
She didn't seem too concerned.
Until she's dead.
Oh, now this movie is what brought New Line Cinema back from bankruptcy.
Oh yeah,
They jokingly nicknamed the movie "The House That Freddy Built."
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God for Freddy Krueger. Thank God for Wes Craven. Again,
Wasn't
It seems like back in the day, New Line Cinema made everything.
well, them and Cannon.
for a while there, yeah.
Or the Orion Group.
Can you imagine that? Because I know that ultimately, I think Robert Englund was quoted years later as saying that he absolutely hated that character because he couldn't get anything else. He couldn't get work outside of Fred Krueger.
Yeah.
You know, like he was so pigeonholed at that point. And he was a decent actor. I've seen him in other things, you know what I mean? But
you remember the first thing I remember seeing Robert Englund in was the TV series V.
Oh,
remember
that's
that
right.
TV series?
Yes.
oh my God, yeah, I
Played
remember
one of
that
the lizard
series.
guys.
I used
Yes,
to love that show.
Yeah,
I
loved
remember
it.
that. I remember
that was-
really, really liking that as a kid. But I think if I went back and saw it now, I'd be like, what the fuck
Oh
is
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. They had a reboot of that too.
A couple
Yeah, they
years
did.
ago they rebooted it. Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't
Only
watch it.
lasted like one season,
Didn't
maybe
watch it.
two.
Yeah.
So you know who was originally supposed to play Fred Krueger in this movie?
No.
Sylvester Stallone.
Hey, yo. You did.
that would have
Hey,
been
yo.
awesome. No, Chris
Yo.
Elliott.
Who?
Chris Elliott.
Shut the hell up. You and your Chris Elliott. Jesus.
Christopher Reeves.
When he turned it down because he had to do The Abyss.
Was it Chris Christopherson?
No, that was just so that I could bring Chris Elliott up again.
I know. You bastard.
But
This
you know
was-
who? So remember how we kind of talked about when we were talking about Chris Elliott and we talked about Keith David and they're both in Something About Mary.
Yeah.
So there's a Something About Mary connection in this movie. Do you guys know what it is?
Stop it.
Wait. In Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yes. Nancy's high school teacher
Yeah.
is Magda.
Ah.
Yes. Yes, you're right. Yes, I remember that.
Nice.
And then James, you can put parts of the like screenshots up, right?
Uh-huh.
So in that scene where she falls asleep in class, you know, and she wakes up and Magda slaps her across the face to wake her up and she calms down. The kid who's sitting right in front of her, you know, like the token black kid in the movie, he turns around and looks at the screen and all I could think of is, how the fuck did Keegan-Michael Key get in this movie? Because I swear to God, look at him. Look, right there. Right there. I can't do this. That's Keegan-Michael Key right there. The screen is backwards. I can't. It's weird.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Wasn't this Johnny Depp's first movie?
It was his film debut. This was
Yeah.
this was pre a Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas Johnny
Oh,
Depp.
geez.
So this is before he was broken.
Before 21 Jump Street.
Before 21 Jump Street, yeah, but before Hunter S. Thompson got a hold of him and just broke him forever.
Now, Nancy, Heather Langenkamp, she beat out over 200 actresses to get this part.
Yeah, including like Courtney Cox and
Demi
and
Moore,
Jennifer Grey.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Johnny Depp beat out like Nicolas Cage, John Cusack,
I think Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
I think Brad Pitt. Yeah.
It's amazing how many people were supposed to be in this movie.
Yeah.
But then like, you know, Johnny Depp got the movie. Do you guys know the trivia behind this?
Probably not. What you got?
Wes Craven's daughter thought he was dreaming.
Yeah.
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 which of course he was.
He's a pretty boy.
Yeah, not as much anymore, but
Pretty old boy.
back then
Pretty
with
old
that
boy.
with that like that rooster hair thing he had going on.
Yeah. Wes Craven's wife was in this movie too.
Was she? Who
Yes.
was she?
She was the nurse.
She was a nurse during
Was
the
the
dream
nurse in the sleep trauma center.
Yep.
You know who the doctor was in that?
The voice of Roger Rabbit.
Exactly.
Yep. I know
Charles
that guy.
Fleischman.
Yep.
Look at that. This is going to be a trivia Nightmare on Elm Street review. That's what this is.
Speaking of, I love the props, James.
Thanks.
I like the
Like
you
our
got the
blinky?
Freddy,
Oh, yeah.
glove there.
Yeah, I snagged it from our children who had that out there just playing with it.
It's sitting on top of the skull that clearly died from gingivitis. What is that? Is that supposed to be like spooky lights? Oh, I see.
I jammed the LED light up its ass.
Well, all right.
He's got the glow.
Easy. Going on another tangent. Another one of our favorite movies, folks.
So there's a point in the movie where Johnny Depp, I think it's when Rod is hanging in the jail cell.
Yeah.
And so leading up to that, when Nancy comes in and she's like, Garcia, I need to see Rod. And and then John Saxon, who, can we talk about John Saxon's hair for a second?
The lack thereof.
Oh my God, that rug was so bad. But
His
John
hair's always
Saxon's
been
like,
that.
John Saxon's like, yeah, Garcia, get the keys. And Garcia's like, where did I put the keys? It's like, oh, you mean the keys for the holding cells that you probably go into like a dozen times a day? Yeah, Garcia, where the fuck did you put those? And you know who was supposed to play Garcia originally?
Who?
Chris
Elliott.
Elliott.
Chris Elliott. I was on that one.
But when they go in the back and they're getting Rod down from hanging, Johnny Depp is wearing a varsity jacket that literally says varsity across the back. That had to be Wes Craven's sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Just little stuff like that.
Oh, you know what else? The scene where Johnny Depp's laying in bed right before he gets killed. He's got the headphones on and a damn television sitting on his crotch.
Yeah.
You remember that scene?
Yes.
This big television sitting on his crotch. I don't know.
Like a 13-inch.
Still, I don't know who falls asleep with a television on their crotch.
Yeah.
But so he's listening to the radio, and it's like the DJ is signing off from KRGR radio.
It is now 12 midnight, and this is station KRGR leaving the air.
Kruger.
Without all the vowels.
Kruger, yeah.
Yeah.
I like in the scene where she finds his headphones in the boiler room. There's like one of those blister tape labels on there that says Glenn, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And it's like, who are you labeling that for, so that your parents don't steal it? You're an only child. What teenager labels his shit like that?
In case he lost them in the lost and found at school.
Maybe.
Or something.
I don't know. Those were some pretty monster headphones. But there was some really good set design going on. There was a Jay Giles poster on Johnny Depp's wall.
Yeah.
The hand.
Yeah.
Heather Langenkamp had a police poster on her wall, and then this like creepy like hand puppet on her bed that I can only imagine had to belong to somebody's kid. And they're like, hey, can we borrow this for this movie? Because that thing is fucking
creepy as shit. It'd be great.
And then she had the coffee pot. Like her mom goes in,
hiding,
clears out the coffee pot and like 3 coffee mugs. And then she waits till her mom leaves and she just goes under her bed and grabs a coffee maker.
Yep.
That's the shit right there.
Gotta stay awake somehow.
The scene where her phone rings after she rips it out of the wall,
Yeah.
And it's Freddy, and the tongue comes out.
Yep.
So she asked to take that home.
What?
And nobody knows why. Yeah, Heather Langenkamp asked if she could take that prop home. And everybody's like, I guess. I mean, but that's the prop I want. I want that prop from the movie.
I worked in movies, and yeah, I'd be asking for everything. You ain't gonna use this anymore. Can I take this home?
She's probably still using it.
She probably is. Good for her.
Just saying.
Good for her.
Her boyfriend at the time is credited to for writing the nursery rhyme. Freddy's nursery rhyme.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Two friends come for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab your crucifix.
That was the creepiest part of the whole film.
I thought it was
where like the little girls playing
hopscotch,
skip rope, and evidently the one of the girls holding the rope was actually the daughter of the owner of the house.
Of the house Nancy lived
in?
in?
The actual house, yeah.
Interesting.
My favorite line of the whole movie was when after Glenn dies, and all the blood and everything, and it's and the paramedics are walking in the house, and the one guy goes, I don't know why we're taking a stretcher in there. He's like, you don't need a stretcher. What you really need is a mop. I'm like, dude, people have died.
Well, I mean, if you watch that scene closely, you'd imagine like a third of the room fills up with blood with all the shit shooting out of that bed. Yeah, they shot that. They shot that in one of those rooms, those like gimbaled rooms that spin around.
Oh yeah, sure. Well,
they just turned it upside down and just poured it through.
Just dumping, they were dumping blood out of it.
You'd have to.
And I heard a story that as one of the guys were dumping the blood out, the blood splattered, and hit one of the lamps, and an electric shock went back up the blood and zapped the prop guy.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Be messing with Freddy, man.
And when they were shooting that scene, they were dumping so much blood, they didn't have that room balance. There was no counterbalance. So as it filled up, the room started tipping. So in one of the scenes, you can see the blood start going sideways.
Yeah. I noticed that, and I thought that was actually a really cool effect.
Yeah.
It kind of had like a Shining. I thought it was like a throwback to The Shining.
Yeah.
But no, that was a happy accident then, because that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'd say one of my favorite scenes was at the end when all the kids were in the car getting ready to leave the convertible. It comes up. It's got Freddy's sweater pattern on the hood of the convertible.
What's going on?
Mom doesn't notice anything. She's just standing there waving.
Yeah, just waving.
Freddy comes out and grabs Mom and pulls her through that window. That there was no way in hell her body was going to fit through that window.
Well, 5 minutes before, then Freddy killed the mom and then pulled her back into the bed into hell or whatever.
It was a dream.
What part was the dream? What part was the
dream? John Saxon was standing there like, sweet, no more alimony payments.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was all a dream.
From what point?
The whole thing. It was Nancy's fever dream from the very beginning.
So the scene you were talking about where the canopy comes up.
Yeah.
It came up and slammed too fast. Ooh. So if you pay attention to that scene, it like slams.
Yeah.
And it scared the shit out of all the kids. So that was like an actual reaction. Like,
I like how when they come out and her mom says, you know what? I just don't feel like drinking anymore. And she's like, they say that when you don't remember the night before, that's when you hit rock bottom. I can imagine like alcoholics across the world, like just throwing their 90-day chip at the screen. Like, fuck you, lady.
Done with this shit. Oh,
So the timeline after Glenn dies is so off. So let's talk about this, because they make a point of talking about the time. You know, call me at midnight so I can wake up and I'm going to bring this guy out, right? So she tells him, and of course, you know, he can't stay awake for fucking 18 minutes. And so he dies at midnight, right? Everybody, his parents discover him, call the police. You know, after you calm down, you see something like that, you're going to take a few minutes to calm down. She calls the police, whoever calls police. Everybody shows up, like the whole town's there. The chief of police shows up, John Saxon. And Nancy calls John Saxon, her dad, and says, I need you to bust down my door in exactly 20 minutes, which will make it past midnight. So from the time that Glenn died to the time that she called, all this shit happens is a 10-minute span of time. So she's going to, in 20 minutes, she's going to fall asleep and bring Freddy back, right?
Right.
That's when she decides, hey, let me put all these booby traps up.
Oh, yeah.
Which would have taken her conservatively, it would have taken 3 people conservatively at least an hour to set all these up. Then she goes and tucks her mom in. And then she takes some no-dos or whatever that shit is, drinks a cup of coffee, and then goes to bed. And I'm like, wait a minute. If you're trying to fall asleep, why are you taking all this stuff?
Yeah.
It just, the timeline doesn't make sense.
No.
That's the only beef I have with this movie. Believe it or not, that's the only beef that I have. It's like, man, you want to make it a little bit, like, I get it, all the dreamscape stuff, but if you're going to talk about timelines, make it a little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
Here's a little tidbit, Joe.
Yeah.
Nancy's house has a blue door in the first movie.
Yeah.
Every movie after that, it's a red door.
Yeah, all right.
When you think about it, yeah. All the movies, all I remember is the red door.
Yeah. In fact, I think I kind of thought about that today. Like, I thought the door was red. No, that's a really good point.
Yeah. And it was this is ranked number 11 of the 25 scariest films of all time by Entertainment Weekly.
Really?
Yeah. Of all time?
I mean,
Apparently.
I guess. Again, there was enough camp in this movie.
Yeah.
And, you know, and Wes Craven Wes Craven just had a sense of humor that came through that, you know, I thought the movie was just delightfully entertaining on a bunch of different levels. You know what I mean? Like, I do salute it for not having gratuitous nudity in it.
Yeah.
Because most of those movies, that's basically what it was. It's like, oh, she's naked, she's gonna die.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? I mean, sure, you know, Tina had sex. You didn't see them have sex though, which again, very uncommon back then.
Heard it enough, yeah.
You know, most of the time it was, you know, you watched
The Sinners.
You watched, they were sinners, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, there was a lot of Wes Craven did a couple brave things in this movie to get it away from that late 70s, early 80s slasher genre film, but still stay within that you know, that movie genre.
Yeah.
So
Freddy
good for him.
No, hell no.
Freddy killed everybody.
Go ahead and go to sleep if you want to.
But I'm gonna kill you. Let's rate this movie here. What do you got there, first baby?
It's getting 5 strips of bacon.
Well, of course, it was one of your top 5.
This is one of my top 5.
Yeah.
It broke me of my stigma of being a little scared bitch when I was younger, trying to watch scary movies. This is getting 5 strips of bacon.
Good. Joe, I'll let you go. Come on, keep it.
No, I'm gonna make it easy. I'm gonna make it really easy on you this week.
I appreciate
it. And I'm gonna put a little backstory to it.
Okay.
So I always thought that this movie took place in the Midwest because In the subsequent movies, it is revealed that they're in like Springfield, Ohio, right? I thought this movie was in the Midwest, and I thought that it was a Hollywood gaffe to see palm trees in the background. So technically but if you look at the license plates, the movie is shot in California, or it's because that's where all the license plates are from. It's the California license plate. So I'm going to give this movie 5 palm trees.
Look at that.
Thank you. That's easy.
5
enough.
palm trees.
Good. At least they're not like 5 palm trees on fire.
I figure I owe it to you after last week's angry Keith Davids.
David wearing what was it?
Voodoo mask.
The voodoo mask.
Head wraps.
Voodoo headdress.
Headdress. Oh, that was a tough one.
What about you, Seamus?
I liked it. I mean, it's not something I went back and watched all the time. I think I've maybe my entire life seen it 4 times. So I'll give it 3 Lucky Charm 4-leaf clovers.
Ouch.
I like I said, I liked it, but it wasn't
that movie?
Wasn't my favorite. Yeah, it wasn't in my top 5.
It wasn't in his top 5.
No.
All right. All right, that's fine. That's fair. That's fair. We'll bring you around eventually.
Yeah. Am I remembering this correctly? Wasn't there like a short-lived TV show?
Yes, there was.
There was a TV show, wasn't
Yes, there was.
I believe there was. There was also a Friday the 13th TV show.
Yes, there was.
But that didn't have really anything to do with the lake, did it? I don't think it did.
Friday the 13th. I don't think it had anything to do with Camp Crystal Lake. I think it was just
they were collecting artifacts,
like possessed items.
Yeah. Think so.
So, all fun, another tangent we are.
As we always tend to do.
Well, that's the end of our review on A Nightmare on Elm Street. If you would please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. Ding, ding. Bing, bing. What are you pointing at? It's down. They're down. They're down. You're pointing up. They're down. That's it for this episode of the Gen Extra Podcast.
Wait. What are we watching next week?
How about we're not going to go into Christmas because we still got all of November to get through.
Oh, thank God.
Huh?
I was dreading Christmas. I'm dreading Christmas movies, but go ahead.
There's a couple already ones. How about Purple Rain?
I can dig it.
I can dig it.
I can dig it.
You can dig it.
Oh yeah.
I can tell you what I'm already going to rate it, but we'll wait. We'll wait for that.
Ooh, James, I'm going to punish you on this one with the graphics.
I
don't know. I don't even know what it's going to be yet. But
you got time.
But I can imagine.
You got time.
It's going to be something good.
Thanks again for watching this episode of the Gen Extra Podcast. Check us out next time. Good night.